Good morning. I'd like to do the introduction of this next piece because I wanted to share from the perspective of our entire church body in a new adventure, a new opportunity that we're taking part in. It's called the Gospel Project. It's comes across as part of it's our curriculum that we're going to be doing with our children and our youth over the next 3 years. An opportunity to kind of walk through the whole Bible. This summer we're doing some test running of it, and we're putting together some opportunities for our teachers and the various departments to be able to see what do we need to do in order to make that happen well. But the reason I wanted to introduce it is that our goal is that this project will be something that we share as an entire congregation, so that from the smallest of our children through the oldest of our adults, they'll all be learning the same thing. So we're looking at some opportunity for some of our adults to be able to form some classes during this hour or perhaps during the 11 o'clock time, or small groups that will happen during the week that will follow the same themes that will happen during the week. Now, why does that kind of come across as a whole church project? Well, the goal is that since our children are going to be studying the same thing as our adults, and the same thing as our youth, the same thing as each of our age groups, this fall we start with the book of Genesis, and we'll just begin walking through the entire Bible over the next 3 years. But the goal is that we'll begin to see some cross-sharing, whether it be in the gathering area, or perhaps parents with their children, or grandparents with their grandchildren, or children with their teenage friends, or children with their parents and grandparents, so that there'll be some sharing back and forth of the things that they're learning. It might be as well for any of us to see the opportunity when we're in the gathering area to be able to say, you know what, I happen to know what the children coming out of the education wing just studied this week. And so I'd like to, kind of share and find out something that they picked up on, and to be able to encourage and get to know somebody that you might not have ever met before. Some of our teenagers being able to share with adults with our teens, and teens with the children. So our goal is to, since we'll all be sharing the same teaching, whether it be here on a Sunday morning, or perhaps even some of the small groups might pick up on that, we're going to see some mixture. So what we're looking at is a cultural shift, not just a curriculum shift. We're looking for the opportunity for us to do something as a church. That's why I wanted to introduce it. But now I'm going to invite Connor and Abbie, our children and youth directors, to come, and family ministers directors, to come and share with us in a better way. First, we're going to see a video clip about the ministry, and then they're going to come and share.
66 books, dozens of authors, a holy canon thousands of years in the making. Consider the works, accounts of history and law, prophecy and poetry, verses of wisdom and letters from friends. Now, look again. What do you see? Behind the fallen creation, where the first son Adam led all humanity astray, there is the faithful Son, a new Adam who fulfills the promise and crushes the serpent's head. In the waters of the flood, just as God used Noah to save his family from judgment, there is a greater vessel by which all God's children are saved. On the altar of desperation, just as Isaac asked his father, "Where is the lamb for the sacrifice?" comes the answer from the wilderness, "Behold the Lamb." For a thirsty people, just as Moses struck the rock in the wilderness, there is a rock whose living water satisfies forever. In the battle against Goliath, where an unlikely king became a champion for his people, we see the shadow of a greater king who defeats sin and death to claim our victory. In the long exile of a people, Isaiah's eyes were opened to a vision of salvation and the eternal journey of God's people to the promised land. Until finally, in humble manger lay the hope of the world, the King who reigns from a throne of straw to Calvary's cross, to the deathless tomb of eternal Easter. Every story casts his shadow. Every word, every verse bears his testimony. The Holy Messiah, Jesus Christ, eternal King. This is the Gospel Project.
We have been so excited to be able to share the Gospel Project with you all. Abbie and I kind of stumbled across it within her first week here, and we kind of took the God nod and followed that path. And for the last 4 months, we have been planning for a fall launch of the Gospel Project this year. So we just want to share a little bit more about what the Gospel Project is so that you guys get an idea of practically how it might work.
So this started a little while back for the two of you in this process, and can you kind of fill us in what some of your vision for this is as to what impact it's going to have on our children, youth, families, and the church family together?
So basically, to answer what is the Gospel Project is a curriculum that will immerse our congregation, all of you hopefully, in the grand story of the Bible, and will transform our hearts to make us more faithful followers of Jesus. As we pursue Jesus through this opportunity, God will give us new passion to join him in his mission to reach all broken and hurting people in our world.
So who is this Gospel Project really for? What's going to take us forward?
You want the short answer? It's for everyone. This is a Bible study curriculum that can fit into any format. So it starts with the fact that our children and youth ministries will be using this for the basis of our teaching in Sunday school classes and youth nights. But also in the fall, we're looking at launching some adult Sunday school classes during the 9:45 hour that will be walking through this same program. For some of our families, you may consider bringing your kids to 8:30 worship and being able to worship God as a family, to share worship with your kids. And then there's a place for all of you to go at 9:45. For any of our small group leaders out there, this curriculum comes packaged in 6-week units that can really, really easily be formatted into the small group life of your group. The Gospel Project is ultimately designed, and they say it in everything that they do, to walk participants of all ages through the Bible. It is so important that we meet Jesus through Scripture, and so that's what the goal of the Gospel Project is.
So what will it look like here for us here at Church of the Good Shepherd? How will it impact us?
So as we've been saying, everyone will have the opportunity to grow and experience gospel transformation. But every week, all of our classes we're starting in the baby room in the nursery, all the way up to 100 plus, maybe, age, we'll learn about the same passage of Scripture, making it more possible than ever before that our congregation can grow closer to God together. Just imagine the faith conversations that can happen among families, between spouses, over meals together, and with church friends if we all are discovering new things about Jesus on a weekly basis. What better way to honor him than to commit ourselves to learning more about him through lessons each week?
So is there a way that we can prep ourselves for this? Where can we learn more about the Gospel Project?
You're not going to be able to miss it. In the gathering area, there's going to be a banner within the next few weeks, and under that banner, you'll find an information table where we'll have a rolling screen of some of the promotional videos that explain the Gospel Project. We'll have samples of the curriculum for every age group. So for parents, you'll be able to see what the kids will be receiving, but you'll also be able to see what the adult curriculum looks like. If you read our June newsletter, there's an article in there that has some links to additional promotional videos like the one that we just saw, and those also explain the meaning of the Gospel Project. Like I said at the beginning, we're just so excited to invite you all into this journey now. Abbie and I have been on fire for this for about 4 months, and when it comes the time for fall, and when we start to see this pay off in the conversations happening in the gathering area, in the discipleship opportunities for all of us here, I can't even imagine what God's going to do. So we can't wait. See you soon.
All right, thank you.